Jack Reacher is just as headstrong as James Bond. Few people can tell Reacher or Bond what to do. Even though Bond holds a senior position in MI6, he still has superiors. However, he tends to only follow orders when it suits him. There aren't many who can force 007 to do as is told, but his internal driving force doesn't tend to let him down. Reacher also marches to the beat of his own drum, but his independence doesn't ruffle anyone's feathers in any official capacity. Reacher's time in the military is over by the time the show begins, although flashbacks in Season 2 do show key moments from his career. His status as a wanderer means he doesn't have to answer to anyone like Bond does, but Reacher Season 2's flashbacks are proof that if Richardson's character receives orders he disagrees with, he's going to go out of his way to disobey them. Reacher and Bond both have literary origins. Child and Fleming are responsible for the creation of Reacher and Bond respectively. Given the popularity of the James Bond movie franchise, it can be easy to forget that the character began as the creation of Scottish author Ian Fleming. Although further Bond books have been commissioned in the wake of Fleming's death, the 007 creator penned 14 of them before his passing. Due to the volume of James Bond movies that have been made, every original book has now been adapted for the big screen, with a few original screenplays thrown in for good measure. It's highly unlikely that Amazon's show will get around to adapting every Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, but the streaming service is in a great position by having so much source material to work with. Lee Child's Killing Floor was the first Jack Reacher book published, with the novel arriving in 1997. Since then, Child has continued to add to his literary world, and now there are almost 30 installments in the book series. It's highly unlikely that Amazon's show will get around to adapting every Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, but the streaming service is in a great position by having so much source material to work with. Neither James Bond nor Jack Reacher have any surviving immediate family. Daniel Craig bucks this trend in No Time to Die. Although Daniel Craig's version of James Bond is revealed to have a daughter in 2021's No Time to Die, no other iteration of 007 has ever fathered a child. So, traditionally, Bond's loner status remains intact. This is compounded by the fact that both of his parents died when he was young, and he never had any brothers or sisters. Bond's tragic backstory is part of what contributes to his tortured soul persona, and the case is very similar for Jack Reacher. Although Reacher wasn't orphaned until he was already an adult, he was without his parents by the time the Amazon TV show started. While his older brother was still alive for a time, Reacher Season 1 comes with the revelation that Joe Reacher was killed in Margrave, Georgia. As a result, Jack Reacher is left just as isolated from a familial standpoint as James Bond. Bond and Reacher received their training from official organizations. Both men have ties to the military in their respective countries. There's an explanation as to why James Bond and Jack Reacher are such formidable opponents. Their survival and combat talents didn't just come naturally to them. Instead, their abilities were earned due to time spent training with their respective employers. For Jack Reacher, the organization in question was the U.S. Army, where he served in the military police and achieved the rank of major. James Bond also has a military history, as he was a Royal Naval Reserve commander before working for MI6 as part of the 00 program. So, it could be argued that Bond's training surpasses that of Reacher's, although it's a good bet that the winner in a fight between both men would come down to fine margins. Interestingly, while James Bond has a government-sanctioned license to kill, Reacher also often gets away with literal murder, although on a somewhat less official basis. Reacher Seasons 1 to 2 can be streamed on Prime Video, with Reacher Season 3 on the way, but lacking an official release date. The James Bond movies aren't currently on streaming services.